Yo, it's your boy Jay Boogie back with another video today. Make sure you guys don't forget to press that like, comment, share, and hit the subscribe button under my YouTube channel. And obviously, go to my TikTok. Follow my TikTok. It's right under my YouTube bio in this picture right here. So I appreciate all the support you guys giving me. Let's get into it. So today I'll be talking about the top 10 best small forwards of all time. And at number 10, I got no other than the human highlight film, Dominique Wilkins. Seeing his highlights, seeing these incredible dunks he has given throughout his career. I mean, come to the league, dude was just a walking highlight waiting to happen. I mean, he was the originator of the windmills. Every windmill dunk he has done was just ecstatic and powerful. And, pretty much, the iconic dunk contest of him and Michael Jordan. We can't forget about those. But he's definitely a very underrated and very, very overlooked NBA legend in his own right. Simply because of the fact that he was in the 80s going through the Isaiah Thomas, the Magic Johnsons, the Larry Birds, a young prime upcoming Jordan, and many other stars. And, to his own right, he had some type of playoff success. I think the furthest ever went was his second round, but I mean, it's better than not making the playoffs, right? So, Dominique Wilkins, seeing his highlights, man, just entertaining, the dunks, just powerful, and pretty much he was a very underrated scorer. I mean, this dude can light it up. I mean, this dude had a decent mid-range game, a good finishing at the rim, had decent footwork as well, but Dominique Wilkins, he doesn't get talked about enough at all for whatever reason nowadays. Simply just because of the fact that he was in a star-studded era of the 80s. Like I said, with the Magic, Bird, Jordan, and Isaiah Thomas, and all of them. And, Dominique Wilkins, this dude, like I said, he was a bona fide scorer. He can light it up. It wasn't just about the dunks. Similar to Vince Carter, both of them players, everybody remember their dunks, but offensively, how they scored the ball was heavily overlooked and is underrated. How people don't really bring it up. And, pretty much, like I said, seeing these highlights of his dunks, man, it's just incredible. And then, moving on to this highlight right here in this particular game where he dropped 52 points in double overtime. I think they won this game against the New York Knicks. You see, he had a nice pull-up mid-range game. He was just a confident scorer. And you see how well put together of his offensive game that, he wasn't the biggest three-point shooter, but he still could knock down threes. But he was an all-around highlight NBA player, NBA legend in his own right. And, I say Dominique Wilkins, he's the reason why he was scoring champion, I think, during the 1986 season. This dude is just a bona fide scorer, can light it up, can make 10 straight jump shots and can have like 5 polarization dunks in a given time. And, of course, 2-3 good windmills on a fast break. And Dominique Wilkins, like I say, I got to give him his flowers, man. He deserves it. I mean, like I say, seen his highlights, man. Like I said, just getting buckets, finishing through contact. Obviously, he's a powerful dunker, so obviously he's going to have to be, a good finisher at the rim, going through contacts, with the layups, the up and unders, the step throughs, and all of that. So Dominique Wilkins deserves to be number 2 on this list. No doubt about it. Shout out to him, Atlanta legend, hands down one of the greatest athletes to ever play for an Atlanta pro team in any sports. And at number 9, I got no other than the truth, Paul freaking Pierce. I talked about him a lot on my channel. You've seen his highlights right here pretty much. I mean, this dude wasn't the quickest, wasn't the most. He was agile, but his game wasn't heavily built on speed. But one-on-one, he was just as dangerous as the T-Max, the Kobe's, the Vince Carter's, Einstein legend in the 2000s. Allen Iverson in terms of scoring situations. And Paul Pierce, like I said, he was a sneaky player, meaning that his athletic ability was so high, but he rarely used it at a fast pace. Like how Vince would dunk the ball, like Paul Pierce would get 2 sneaky dunks, sneaky bounce. And you would never see him coming because he always playing slow motion. And Paul Pierce was very clutch in his prime, was a very clutch player throughout his career pretty much. And, like I say, he had some memorable moments. Can't forget about the iconic comeback against the New Jersey Nets in the conference finals in the East in the 2002 playoff, him and Antoine Walker. Paul Pierce, like Shaq said, he is the truth. A lot of y'all gonna understand about his game. I gave him his flowers while on my channel. And, despite the crazy takes he does nowadays, he's just a typical old head, just give out his own opinions and stuff. But throughout his game, his skill set, I admire it to the fullest simply because it was kind of like the Luka Doncic of today. Methodical scorer, not going to beat you with speed, can literally destroy you in isolation one-on-one. He had the mid-range, the finishing ability, the three ball was efficient. He was pretty much a all well-rounded three-level scorer offensively. And like I said, in isolation, Paul Pierce in clutch moments was as good as anybody in NBA history. And like I say, Paul Pierce deservedly so won the Finals MVP and beat Kobe Bryant in the NBA Finals. Of course, he had the team of him, KG, Ray Allen, of course, a very young Rajon Rondo. But besides that, like I said, Paul Pierce, like I said, you've seen these highlights of how he get buckets, relentless finisher, toughness, nothing was soft about him. Dude went out there to go get buckets. And like I say, he has sneaky bounce. And like I said, he's one of the greatest mid-range scorers as well. His mid-range is a little bit overlooked because of the fact that he has such a good three-point ability in his bag on offense. And I say Paul Pierce, man, I studied his game. I admire it. I really admire just the fact that you don't always have to beat defenders at a fast pace, or you don't always have to go at 110%, and that's not your forte, or your game wasn't built on that. And he was one of the first players I really seen. The older I got, was like, he's not gonna really beat you at a fast pace. He go get to his spots, knock it down, get buckets, and gonna get a good 42 points out of nowhere. Dude was one of the great scorers in 2000, no doubt about it. So shout out to Paul Pierce, the truth. And at number 8, I got no other than Melo 7, Carmelo freaking Anthony. My goodness, one of the greatest, some say the greatest isolation scorer ever. And this is one of the biggest debates because Melo was pretty much a 4, really 5-level scorer, but he was a real 4-level scorer. If you want to be direct, honest with it. Seeing his highlight of his scoring ability, the 1-2 dribble pull-ups in the mid-range, I studied that. I get that from him a lot. When I go hoop, him and T-Mac are the only two people I really studied the 1-2 dribble pull-ups, and it's so effective because you don't have to do too much on offense, especially when you're confident, when you practice and work on those shots every single day. And Melo, bully ball is pretty much puts him on that, one of the toughest one-on-one players because he had the boogie ball and he had the size. And, like I said, the face-up ability when he played in the post. I said the pull-up, quick release, nice form. Melo offensive game is something that you will want and need to have if you, want to study a great offensive scorer. Forget about efficiencies, all the other stuff. Just look on how he gets buckets. And Melo was a full-level scorer. The pull-up threes. Melo, Miami Heat game. I think I was in high school when this happened. I think he had a game where he probably had 40 or 50 points against Miami Heat on all jump shots. Didn't even drive in. That's how good of a perimeter scorer that Carmelo Anthony is. But I really admire his 1-2 dribble pull-ups. Seeing his highlights, man, this dude is a full level scorer. The mid post, 3-ball, the mid range, the finishing ability, and Melo, like I said, this dude, when you add the booger ball to his isolation game, it's tough because Melo is a physical offensive player and pretty much a physical offensive scorer, and you want to put it that way. And Carmelo Anthony, like I said, just go out there, get buckets. Like I said, another clutch player in isolation. Wish he had more deeper playoff success. But obviously, can't forget about the 2009 playoff run was incredible. Obviously, eventually losing to the Western Conference Final against the Kobe Bryant and the Lakers. But that team with him, Chauncey Billups, Kenyon Martin, J.R. Smith, Nene, I think they still had Marcus Camby, I believe. But that team was well-rounded, was well-stacked. But, like I said, Carmelo Anthony, man, got to give him his flowers, man, for what he did for the Nuggets and the New York Knicks. I mean, like I said, Carmelo had tons of memorable moments. Should have won Rookie of the Year because him and Wade, out of him, Wade, LeBron, Wade and Melo are the only two rookies in the 03, draft class that really took that team to the playoffs. And Melo averaged like 21 points his rookie year. But, like I said, man, Carmelo, like I said, scoring champion. I mean, Melo did it all, for his own rights. And his legacy, is always going to be remembered, no doubt about it. So shout out to Carmelo Anthony, no doubt about it. And at number 7, I have not seen his highlights at all, but to the great John Havlicek, if I said that right, John Havlicek pretty much was a two-way player for the Boston Celtics, in the 60s and 70s, winning Finals MVP. I mean, he was a great pivotal part of the Boston Celtics history with Bill Russell's and, Bob Cousy and them. And, like I said, I couldn't find really any realistic highlights of him, probably due to copyright issues. But besides that, I'm remembering hearing a lot about him growing up, especially when I was in middle school, about John Havlicek being one of the greatest small forwards. I had to do some research, and this dude, like I say, was a two-way player, could defend and get buckets. John Havlicek, I mean, like I say, you look at his stats, you look at his playoff stats, and then you look at his accolades right here. I mean, it speaks for itself. I mean, multiple champion, multiple time defensive player, all-team defense, all NBA selections, all-stars. I mean, John Havlicek was that dude. And I'm not going to sit and act like I just watched his highlight, I just seen it, because I haven't. But based off what I've heard from other NBA players and other NBA legends, John Havlicek was that dude. And, just based off what I've seen, the highlights I just seen probably like a few days ago, I couldn't post it because of copyright issues. But, this dude, I mean, he was a good two-way player, for his own right in his heyday with the Celtics, and he was a big part of the Celtics in the playoffs. I think he won Finals MVP as well. So shout out to John Havlicek at number 7. At number 6, I got no other than one of the best wing defenders of all time, the great Scottie Pippen. Seeing his highlights, pretty much this highlights from his best season he has ever had during the 93-94 NBA season, where Jordan, retired, and Scottie Pippen offensively was a monster. You pretty much see how his scoring ability is. We know about his athletic ability of his poster dunks he has had throughout his career. His defense. Scottie Pippen was a defensive genius, great at playing in passing lanes, will knock you up, a good defender in the low post. I mean, Scottie Pippen was an all-around well defender. And, pretty much, of course, the criticisms, the chaotic stuff during the Lance Dance documentary of him and Michael Jordan. Besides that, Scottie Pippen, if Michael Jordan didn't have Scottie Pippen, this whole NBA history would have been totally different. Scottie needed Jordan. Jordan needed Scottie. Even though Scottie Pippen, during the 1993-94 season, led the Bulls to a 55-win season, eventually I think they lost to the second round to the New York Knicks. But that's very impressive because, everybody thought, the Bulls ain't going to be, but, it was still Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant, and Tony Kukoc. Shout out to Tony Kukoc, a legendary lefty, 6-man. But, Scottie Pippen, like I said, he had a decent mid-range game, could shoot the ball. You've seen his highlights. His scoring ability. Honestly, we know about his defense, but his scoring ability. And he was pretty much, if I want to talk about his game, he was really more of a point forward, like a defender point forward. Because he was a good playmaker, someone to be a well-known defender. And like I said, he had a nice mid-range game, could get to the rim finishing, his dunks, the layup packages. Honestly, he learned from Jordan. But, still at the end of the day, he had his own offensive type of prototype to his game. And basically he was a point forward. And like I said, Scottie Pippen, surprisingly, he has not won Defensive Player of the Year. But you would have thought that would be under his resume. But unfortunately, I think years Hakeem won in the '90s, Gary Payton won in the '90s, and many other people won Defensive Player of the Year. But Scottie Pippen deserved his flowers. He deserved to be number 6 on this list. I don't care what anybody got to say. If you put him at number 5, I'm not mad at it, but you can't put him below number 6. He's automatically a top 5, top 6 on lock, no doubt about it. And like I said, Scottie Pippen in his own right, like I said, once he came to the Bulls, that became more monstrous on defense, more taken seriously on defense, and then honestly add Dennis Rodman as a team, Ron Harper and them, in the later years. But, Scottie Pippen, athletic defender, a good point forward, and he was a decent mid-range scorer. So he had some type of scoring ability outside the dunks and the layups. So he had a nice, decent mid-range game. But shout out to Scottie Pippen, though, man. Deserved to be number 6 on this list, no doubt about it. And then number 5, no other than the Claw, Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi the Claw Leonard. Yes, during his Clippers runs, pretty much after the second season, he's just been up and down with the, load management, the injuries, and so forth. But before the Clippers era, Spurs in Toronto was incredible. I mean, Kawhi Leonard came to the league, just solid assassin on defense. Before his offensive game became more fluid, he was a great on-ball defender for the Spurs. And like I said, what he did in the 2014 NBA Finals against LeBron needs to be talked about more, because as great as LeBron was during his Miami Heat era, and also for the playoffs for the Heat, when he was on the Heat, how you playing defense on LeBron James is how you want to play defense on a player like LeBron James. And honestly, seeing his highlights right now, his offensive game, throughout the year from the Spurs to the Clippers, but pretty much after the 2013-14 season or 14-15 season, his offensive game became more fluid. His movement became more elusive. His mid-range game became deadly. His post footwork. I mean, Kawhi Leonard became a mid-range assassin. And then honestly, when he went to the Raptors, I mean, dude, my goodness, bro. See the stats in the 2019 playoff run? When he went to Toronto? I mean, yeah, the Warriors were injured, but before that, he went through a good, decent Orlando Magic team, the Milwaukee Bucks, and then the Philadelphia 76ers. He has such an incredible playoff run. It has to be a top 10 playoff run for a player. And, Kawhi Leonard, like I said, this dude, offensive game became such effective. Like I said, pretty much his last 3 years with the Spurs, and like I said, this dude became such an on-ground two-way player. And, gotta give him his props for what he did in his, for his time, his heyday with the Spurs in his later years, and for that one season for the Toronto Raptors. And like I said, Kawhi Leonard, when he's on the court, when he's available, he's so impactful. I don't think people understand when he came back in the 2023 playoff, when he in the first round against the Suns, I believe. That's when Westbrook got traded to the Clippers. The dude impact was so great offensively. The 2 games he played before he got hurt, he averaged 34 points. Kawhi impact is so important that people don't understand. When he's fully healthy, when he gives you 15 straight games, it's 15 straight games, nothing but efficiency, lockdown, getting steals, mid-range, the 3-ball, also throughout his career has gotten much better. So his impact alone, when he's available, is cannot be debunked at all. And it's just the only thing about him, can the brother just stay healthy? Just stay on the court. Forget old managers, just stay on the court. If you gotta play just 35 minutes, whatever. But his impact is way too important, and we seen it with the Clippers. When every time he come back, it's like, what I'm saying. But obviously, in his recent postseason, I feel like they rushed him back because he was looking stiff, like real stiff, like he wasn't fully healthy. But besides that, Kawhi Leonard, arguably just went up to the ranks throughout his career of become a top 5, top 6 small forward of all time, and deservedly so. Like I said, a great two-way player, offensive game. He was one of the greatest mid-range one of the greatest mid-range scorers at his position of today. And like I said, when he was on the floor, his impact is positive on both ends of the floor. So shout out to the Kawhi Leonard. And number 5. And number 4, I got no other than Dr. J. Julius Dr. J. Irvin. Before Jordan, before David Thompson, before them guys, before Dominique Wilkins, you had Dr. J. His run during the ABA era is incredible. Y'all can look up the stats. Dude was just phenomenal in the ABA. Multiple champion, MVPs, all team selections. Dude, I think his first season in the ABA in the playoffs, he averaged 30 points and 23 rebounds. 30 points and 23 rebounds. That's crazy. 30 points and 23 figure rebounds. Dr. J, dude was just, his aura alone with the fro. The Rucker Park era. He's the goated legend of that, hands down. And I say, obviously, heading to the NBA era, he was still impactful. Just impeccable highlights, impeccable moments of him for the 76ers, and then eventually went in 1983 when he won the NBA championship with him and Moses Malone. And Dr. J was a big influence in terms of athletic ability to guys like the David Thompson, Michael Jordan, Wilkins. He was a good offensive player, good finisher at the rim. Dude was just, once you go up with him, best believe you're coming down being posterized while he's still going up. And Dr. J, man, like I say, has iconic moments in the NBA. He's seen his stats, seen his accolades, man. Dr. J was just, dude, to be so dominant in both leagues in his own right, in the ABA and then into the NBA. Bro, you guys have to look up his stats in the ABA, bro. I think for his career in the ABA, he averaged like 27 points. But, to add 33 points in the playoff and 20-some rebounds in the playoff run is insane. But like I said, man, Dr. J, man, like I said, this dude was an iconic, many inspirations to other players, other athletes growing up, looking at him, watching him playing in his prime. And like I said, Dr. J was phenomenal, man, and he deserved to be number 4 on this list, no doubt about it. And at number 3, my favorite small forward of all time, to me, the greatest isolation scorer of all time in his position, or maybe just in general, in my opinion, that's Kevin KD Durant. Seeing his highlights, man, this dude, he's right. He's in that class of the T-Max in terms of the heavy pull-ups, isolation scoring ability, man. KD was just a smooth scorer, 4-time scoring champion. Over the likes of still a prime Kobe, the LeBrons, the Melos. Kevin Durant, for what he did for the OKC run and the Golden State and the Brooklyn Nets. For what he did post Achilles and still being a 25 plus point scorer after an Achilles injury. Some say, yeah, he didn't rely on his athletic ability, but you still have to go out there and be aggressive to score the basketball. Still got to finish at the rim and come down and land or whatever you got to do, but that takes mental. And Kevin Durant, man, you seen his highlights of how he get buckets, dude. Kevin Durant, I wish him and Westbrook did. I wish they both would have won championship in OKC. Because we low-key got robbed of the 2016 NBA Finals. It could have been him and Russ versus a Kyrie and LeBron. That would have been a whole different outlook, because that's a more equal matchup of two great duos on the team. And I'll say besides that, the Kevin Durant, like I said, his isolation scoring ability, the great mid-range score, and his position outside of Carmelo Anthony. And this dude, like I say, he's pretty much a 5-level scorer, finishing the mid-range, the mid-post, the three-point shot, and the deep three-point shot. He just added to his game. Like I said, and then his jump shot, you can't block it. Dude, work on these mid-range shots. See this clipboard? This is his hot zone, and these are the areas that he works on his mid-range shots at the elbow during shoot-around, repetition, the off-season, practice. He be working on these same type of shots throughout his whole career, especially when you really seen it when he was on the Warriors. And pretty much his Warriors run was incredible. Two-time champion, two-time Finals MVP, and then of course winning MVP in OKC. He had such an incredible 2014 run, scoring champion that season, and win MVP. And I say KD, my goodness, bro. Like I said, from OKC, Warriors, Nets, and Suns, same player, same type of player, same buckets. And like I said, he just became. It's like he becomes more lethal in the mid range. He's always been such a great mid range scorer, but it's like to the point where you just can't stop it, because he could be off balance, can shoot one-legged threes, one-legged mid range shots. KD scoring back is deep, and his handles, that long hesitation he do, the snatch back, you can't stop that, bro. And he's 6'11", 7 foot doing this. What? Bro, come on, dog. Like, KD, iconic. The shoe run, especially when he's OKC, was, everybody wanted KD. KD was just phenomenal. Still is phenomenal scorer. Still unguardable to this day. KD got to be number 3 on this list, no doubt about it, man. So shout out to my boy Kevin Durant. And at number 2, no other than Larry Legend, the Celtics legend. Outside of Bill Russell, Larry Bird. Larry Bird is the definition of fundamentals and trash talk. Larry Bird, him and Magic, they revived the league in the 80s, and with Bird, smooth score, fundamentally sound, underrated playmaker. Dude has some great, incredible passes throughout his career. And, he had a nice 3-ball, a great shooter. And, he was a great rebounder as well, kind of like someone I know from the Celtics today, Jason Tatum. Guys can give you 25 points and can give you like 10, 11 rebounds, because I think he had multiple seasons where he was averaging double-digit rebounds. And, Larry Bird in his own right, seeing his highlights, this dude, was just as good as anybody in terms of fundamentally sound. This dude, like I said, a methodical scorer, a methodical player. Wasn't going to play at no type of fast pace. He's going to play at his own pace. And, like I said, this dude, Larry Bird, was that dude. This dude would literally trash talk you to death and back it up and drop 40. Not even at home on at your arena, at your crib. This dude, my goodness, bro. Larry Bird, a lot of Luka getting a lot of comparisons to him. I can see it a little bit, no doubt about it. But, Larry Bird, like I said, this dude can talk trash and literally score 9 straight buckets on you. And don't forget, remember, he had a game where I can't remember the amount of points he had. Obviously, it was more than 25 points, but dude was shooting with his left hand just to do it. I think it was against the Atlanta Hawks, I believe. And dude was just shooting and just scoring with his left hand throughout the whole time. It's insane. And like I say, him and Magic Johnson revived the league in the 80s. And I said Larry Bird, aura, his just his style of play was different in the 80s. And then he had some sneaky bunnies as well, but all they're doing type of player, like I said, they just play at their own methodical pace. Like I say, he was a good mid-range scorer, fundamentally sound, a good post playmaker. His playmaking ability has to be talked about a lot more, because dude has some incredible passes. A good defender. He was a good defender. Can't forget about this. So I'm not comparing Jason Tatum to Larry Bird, but you see of how they both, guys that can score the ball, great rebounders at their position, and good defenders. So Larry Bird, instead of being on this list, you've seen these highlights of how effective he is, or how effective he was during his heyday with the Celtics. And at number 1, the GOAT of this list, the GOAT of our era, no other than the King himself, LeBron King James. I mean, still going strong, finna be 40 years old this season. Longevity is impeccable. Durability is impeccable. LeBron James was that guy, man. Still is that guy, just based off his longevity. And pretty much the greatest all-around player of all time. Especially, this guy was, LeBron, I could talk about so many versions of him. If you want to talk about who's my favorite version of LeBron James on my channel, LeBron, like I said, this dude, all-around player. IQ is what, to me, is his biggest strength, just because that's what makes him such an all-around player. And, seeing these highlights, it's hard to pick a highlight of LeBron James, but these are highlights. This is one highlight reel that I chose. Incredible dunker, transition 101. You didn't want to see him, especially during his Miami Heat era when he got a little bigger and bulkier. Transition 101, you didn't want to see him. You want to take a charge, better have good health insurance. But, like I said, man, LeBron James was an all-around player, man. Still is. Still going strong. Now he's playing with his son. Him and his son. That's such an incredible sight to see. For any father to want to have that moment, seeing this moment in real time, in the sports league, especially in the NBA, is definitely a great sight to see. But I'm gonna show you a particular stat line. This right here, the second thing LeBron James, when he came back to Cleveland, is a top 5 best playoff player of all time. See these stats? I mean, this dude damn near almost averaged a triple-double. And, bro, that, his second stint with the Cavaliers playoff run is one of the most goated things you could have seen, because honestly, I've seen all this live. I was, a teenager, and then, headed to my, college years, and LeBron James, like I said, man, I ain't got to talk about his skills all the way. You seen his highlights, still see it to this day. Honestly, now that he became such a more complete, well-rounded three-point shooter, if he can stop changing his jump shot so many goddamn times. But, outside of that, LeBron James, man, like I said, this dude, inspiration to many others, still inspiration to this day, generational talent, I'd say, like I said, this LeBron James is, hey, man, look, he's number 1 on this list, bro. I ain't got much to say about this dude. So, that's my list. That's my take on my top 10 best small forwards of all time. If you like this video, like, comment, share, subscribe, whatever you gotta do. I love you guys. Jay Boogie is out.